So, good morning, everyone. My name is Dorothy Zimmerman, and I'm the Communications Director for the Florida Sea Grant Program. I know most of you, but I'm looking forward to meeting those of you that I don't know. We have a special presentation here before we get into the next session of our program. I'm thrilled about this because it happens to be sort of a homegrown product here in Gainesville, FL. So some of you are aware, but for those of you who are not, the National Ocean Sciences Bowl is a high school science competition that is sponsored each year by the Consortium for Ocean Leadership. And it uses a quiz bowl format to test students on their knowledge of oceanography. So in Gainesville, we are proud to be home to one of the nation's top placing teams, the Rams of Eastside High School. That's where my sons went to high school as well. So they've already begun this year getting ready for the 2018 Nationals in Boulder, Colorado. And I spoke to their parent sponsor over the course of the last few weeks through Irma and all other such. And they meet on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. And I think that's pretty remarkable. They're busy kids and they're busy sponsors. And so I think it's remarkable that they have carried on this tradition over the last few years. Anyway, if you would, they're going to speak this morning. So if you would give a warm welcome to the Eastside High School teams and their parent sponsor and West Bayou.
Thank you, Dorothy, for inviting us here today. I have to say, though, you jumped the gun just a little bit because first we have to win our regional competition before we can head to Boulder for the national competition. So thank you for that vote of confidence. It's a great opportunity for us to be here today and learn about current research going on in Florida. It's great for the kids to be exposed to that. Our format of preparing them for competition is, they do a lot of the preparation themselves. They decide what topics they want to look into. They do some research during the week, and then they'll present that information to each other on Sunday mornings. We also reach out to UF faculty. And a couple years ago, so each year has a different theme of the competition. And one year was oil in the oceans. And we had Monica Wilson, who's here today, give the kids a Skype lecture about oil and marine environment. And that was great. So to give you a little background about the competition, I've been involved in the competition since 1998, which was when the competition was formed. 1998 was the year of the ocean. And my eldest child was 4 years old at the time, and he helped out with the competition. This was in Virginia, where I was the regional coordinator, and he said, when I'm in high school, I want to form a team. So fast forward to 2008, when he was a freshman at Eastside High School, and he said, okay, now's the time. So my husband and I began coaching the team, and it's been a lot of fun since then, most of the time. So there are 25 regions around the United States, and Florida has 2 competitions. And Dennis, who's sitting in the back, coordinates the competition for Florida. You would think would be divided north and south, but instead Florida is divided east and west. And Dennis is the coach for the for the east side of Florida, and the west side competition, which is what we compete in, is at USF every year. So the ultimate goal of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl is to get kids excited about the marine environment, to get them to become stewards of the marine environment. If they want to become marine scientists, great. But their ultimate goal is really to get students to become marine stewards. And I think that goal, you'll hear from some of these guys later, and they'll tell you a little bit more about that. The format of the competition is that you have 2 teams competing against each other at a time. Those 4 kids will each have buzzers. They are given a toss-up question that is multiple choice, and the range of those questions can be, what is the deepest point in the ocean, with then 4 options, to much more complex questions about physical oceanography, let's say. If you get your toss-up question correct, you get a bonus question. For that bonus question, you get to talk to each other for 20 seconds to come up with your answer. The team captain will then present that answer. You have 6 minutes of that sort of competition. Then you have 2 team challenge questions. Those team challenge questions are quite involved. You often will have a graph or some sort of figure that they need to interpret and answer questions about, and then you have 6 more minutes of that toss-up format. If you win your regional competition, which we have been lucky enough to do 5 times over our tenure, you get an all-expense paid trip to nationals. The location of nationals changes every year. We have been to Galveston, Texas, Baltimore, Maryland, Seattle, Washington, Biloxi, Mississippi, and Corvallis, Oregon. And many of these pictures were taken on our trip this past year to Oregon. Nationals this year will be in Boulder, Colorado. So if you win your regional competition, you receive an all-expense paid trip to nationals, which is really a wonderful perk of this competition, because many activities that the kids are involved in outside of school are not free of charge and can become quite expensive. So it's wonderful that they've been able to do that. And the future of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl is always seems to be in jeopardy because funding has become so tight. So I'll turn it over to them, and they can tell you a little bit more about their experiences with it.
Hi everyone, so I'm Liliana, I'm Anne's daughter, and I've been sort of surrounded by the ocean my whole life, but I've been doing oceanography club since freshman year, and I'm really glad that I've done this. You know, NOSB and Oceanography Club as a whole have challenged me to appreciate the sciences in my daily life and encouraged me to appreciate oceanic processes enough to want to work in the environmental sciences and to solve problems like you guys are with your research, like sea level rise and climate change. So one facet of NOSB, one facet of nationals that we really enjoy but also struggled with a lot was the policy part of the competition, which involves us receiving a piece of legislation that is up for reauthorization, and we have to edit it, and we each have to take stakeholder positions in like the national government or the states, and we have to work together to come up with a consensus to how we want to approach the reauthorization. And so, as sort of a fun fact, we like to represent Sea Grant as our state stakeholder, and so we're trying our best to represent you guys. So thank you so much for inviting us to come and listen to your research and help understand what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Emily. I've also been in this club for 4 years now, since my freshman year, and this was really my first experience with anything scientific that I actually got interested in, because throughout my middle school, I was like, oh, science, it's so boring, I'm not gonna get into this. But freshman year, Liliana convinced me to join this club, and I just thought it would be a fun experience for the competitive aspect, because that was something I was interested in. But the more and more I learned, the more I became into the sciences, and so this is really my first opportunity to get involved in this. And we've been on so many cool field trips and stuff, and also participating in this and having that more competitive edge motivates me to pay attention in other classes. Like last year in physics, we're talking about wave motion, and all of us are like, oh, we've already learned this like 3 years ago. And so it's just been a really cool thing to be able to connect all of these classes that we've been taking and actually have a reason to memorize facts about it and apply it in February in our regional competition and then in April at nationals. So it's just been something really great for me especially, and I know a lot of this isn't true for them, but it's motivated me a lot to consider the marine sciences for my college career choice. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Ari Bechtel, and I'm also a senior at Eastside High School. I joined the NOSB team at Eastside in my 10th grade year. Like Emily, I was not a kid who thought he would pursuing science outside of the classroom. But I think in my experience, one of the big goals of the National Ocean Sciences Bowl is to encourage and introduce high school students to the marine sciences, and it has done just that for me. But additionally, another thing I've enjoyed about this science competition is the social relationships we get to form, not just with one another, but when we go to marine laboratories, when we invite guest speakers, and when we travel to other states and meet other teams and other coordinators and actual oceanographers and go to symposiums like this to see real oceanographic research, those kind of relationships that we form through this competition have helped me develop my oceanographic knowledge through social relationships rather than just through the traditional academic setting. Because I know we spend a lot of our time sitting in classrooms and taking notes and reading textbooks, and while that's all very useful, it doesn't give that same social edge that Oceanography Club has really given me. And I hope that NOSB is something that continues to be supported and can continue to help high school students like it has helped us. And lastly, I just want to thank you guys for listening and for inspiring us to develop our oceanographic knowledge. Thank you.